Katherine, great to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Great to see you.
It's really interesting because, you have an incredible body of work. You worked on a lot of different things. And you have worked on things that have an ensemble cast, but you might,
Yeah.
have shows or movies where you only work with like 3 or 4 people, right? But the cast is like 20. This is like you're really in an ensemble cast, right? Like you really get to work with a lot of people. What was that like specifically, where like you do have scenes with like 20 people throughout the 15 episodes, if you think about it?
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's one like my last show, Octavia Spencer, was just all Octavia Spencer mostly. So it's Octavia Spencer. I mean, she has an Academy Award, so I'll take it. It's often like that. Yeah, that you're just mainly with one person. I always like it when we get to interplay with other people. I like it better when the more characters I get to interact with.
Absolutely. The fast pace of this medical drama is like something we've never seen before. It obviously got a lot of kind of like discussion around ER because of Noah Wyle and everything. Take me through, even when like before you actually got on set, but take me through when you really started to realize that this was going to be something like a lot of people have not seen before in the medical drama genre, so to speak.
Well, I think, when I realized that they were doing it hour by hour, I thought that was really interesting. And then when we started talking with John, like in the first 2 weeks, we did medical school basically. We had like medical school in 2 weeks, and we did a lot of talking with John about what the show was going to be like. When he was, basically telling us there was going to be no sticks, like the camera was never going to rest on a tripod, that there were going to be no marks, and I remember saying to him, what is it that you wanted to look like? Like, what are you going for? And he said, I wanted to feel like you're inside it.
Yeah.
So not even documentary where this is a subject, let's look at this subject, but that you're inside the experience.
Yeah.
And it was just very exciting. I think that really cued me to keep the acting as naturalistic as possible, just to let it just feel like, someone's just catching you at a private moment, and to be willing to look like shit.
Absolutely.
That was a big part of it. Just to look bad and to, just to be as real as you can be and as simple and truthful all the time.
Watching this show feels like a roller coaster you can't kind of get off, right? Because like I feel like that's what it feels like. Were there moments where it felt like that filming it, so to speak?
Yeah, it was really what was the word? It was very it was strenuous.
Yeah.
It got a little bit less strenuous in the middle, but at the beginning, they just, they were all trying to figure it out too. They didn't all know if it was going to work either.
Yeah.
We have one continuous set. I've never been on a show where there's one continuous like real set. Like the walls don't move in the set.
Yeah.
They don't take anything away. Usually when you walk into a space, it's like all these like walls up, and then you walk in and inside it's real. This thing, you walk into the stage and it's like a whole emergency department. So you're walking to this very realistic thing. So I don't think they knew. And I think because I'm at that hub and I'm kind of running things, I was there all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh, wow. For a while at first, I thought, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I could physically do it. I would have to go at lunch and lay down and just turn off all the lights and put my legs up, and I would just go home and, take a bath and eat. Like, I had to treat myself like I was an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
And just really take great care of myself. As we got going, that's my dog, sorry. Elsa.
No
We're doing an interview, man. Come here. We're doing an interview, dude. You can't go scratching. No scratches.
Oh, Elsa.
No scratches, Elsa. Doing an interview, man. Be cool. So as we got going, I think they were able to like realize, oh, we might not see you here. We can let you go a little bit. But at the beginning, it was like all hands on deck, 10, 12 hours a day. Just it was really strenuous.
We live for a dog interview cameo, by the way, so that's always fantastic stuff. This is like the only question I'm going to ask in this interview, because a lot of my questions are very like craft based, because I'm a filmmaker as well, so these are the things I always think of. But this is the only kind of like character question or like plot question.
Okay.
Your character, there is this ping pong match and push and pull. whether she wants to continue to be a nurse or not, right? We see that throughout, the last couple of episodes where she's like dealing with a lot. She's going through a lot and everything, right?
Right.
I feel like one of the things that I'm realizing is she is like taking care of everyone and she is the voice of reason. And I feel like at some point she's realizing that she can't like please everyone and she can't take care of everyone. And I'm wondering if like those were the kind of some of the conversations with John or Noah in regards to your character with that, where it's at some point you're just like, okay, I'm not going to please everyone. You know what I mean? Because everyone goes to her for advice, right? If you think about it.
I actually don't think that is what set her off. I think that part Dana likes and she takes a lot of pride in it. It's too bad that episode 12 was cut a bit for time.
Okay.
So really in the end, what I actually said, the longer version of that was, I've been punched, I've been kicked, I've been spit at, I've been pissed on. I've even had feces thrown in me by patients in distress, but today was different. That guy, this is the part they cut. That guy wasn't high or drunk or suffering a mental health crisis. He was just angry. Yeah. And it was kind of like, is this the world that we live in now? Like, how am I just going to throw myself out there like fodder? So for me, I feel like he took her dignity. My version, that's really what's going on for her more, is that he took her dignity and being a woman. This is a woman. Dana's character has 3 daughters. She has a granddaughter. How do you go home as a woman and say, Mom's going to go back to this place where they beat her up? That's a lot different than this guy was really high and he accidentally, this guy intentionally punched me in the face.
Absolutely.
And that actually does happen in nurses, it does happen. And so to people in these, emergency workers. So I felt like it was a real crisis for her. Also, I think that she's gotten her whole identity from working in this hospital. John and Scott Gemmill told me at the beginning that her mother died when she was 16.
Yep.
We referenced that she started volunteering at the high school at 16. And you've got to think it's a blue collar woman, right? Like,
absolutely.
You better believe that they're like,
I was going to get to the punch as well. There was a question there as well. I was also alluding more towards the conversation with, I mean, we're going to have to wait until the finale's out, but like the conversation that you and Patrick have, right? Where like, that's like, I feel like a really amazing scene that you both crush, where you're just kind of like, I can't do this anymore. You're a smart kid. Like, I feel like that's where I was going with it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So in that scene, that's so good to hear that was really a fun scene that John Wells directed. That was so fun to work on.
Because you know what I mean, though, right? Where the whole, she wants to take care of everyone, but there is a little bit of like, okay, I can't be here right now,
Okay, you know what was interesting about that scene was when I read it, I thought it was, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to do it or whatever.
That's where I was going with that a little bit, because I found that
exactly
was very
that part.
interesting. Yeah.
Because I had already I think in that scene, she's kind of decided that she's going.
Yes.
But what I loved, and I don't know if they cut this in, but what happened, at least for me, as I was doing the scene, was his problem becomes my problem. Because I care about him. I felt like that just happened in the ethos.
Yes.
That just happened in there. It was like, oh, now your problem, it was John's direction, was everything. It was like, oh, because I care about you, now this is kind of my problem too.
Yes, no, absolutely.
And I definitely feel like, so there, on that level, that's what I see what you're saying. There's just a kind of like, I just can't fucking do this anymore. Like, I should
have been like, we will get to, the punch episode.
Yes. But I do think, I just think the thing crushes her, and I think like what I was trying to say before too was that she's probably from a blue collar family. This Dana, being Dana, I'm sure they're like, you go down to the hospital, you see Dana bossing all the doctors around, like Dana's a big deal in her family.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy Dana doesn't come home with a black eye. Like nobody fucks with Dana. No. It's like Aretha Franklin said one time, like nobody's going to throw fur paint on my fur coat. Like I'm Aretha Franklin. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think it's like nobody's going to punch Dana, and then Dana gets punched, and it's like, oh, it's Dana. It's like it's a big, I think it just really takes her out of her place.
For sure, because I feel like throughout the whole It's really cool because it's my first question too about the ensemble cast where you have scenes with everyone. It like Dana does become that like voice of reason in a lot of ways. And like for what episodes, people come straight to you for
Right.
questions, right?
Right.
And in the first couple of episodes, you're taking care of everyone and you do seem to have all the
Mhm.
answers for them, right? But at the end, it's just kind of like, no, like I'm fed up. Like I can't do this anymore. You know what I mean?
It's so funny that you're saying that because it wasn't really written, but the way that I decided to, I don't know if you remember the episode like where the nurses are like, oh, the fight, they were having a fight. I'm like, what fight? And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
I'm like, talk about it again. You're going home. And
Yeah.
I just decided to, I guess that was maybe in 10. It was kind of in between, or it was in 11 before I tell them I'm going to quit. But
Yep.
I let her just get kind of angrier. I
Yep.
just let her get angry. It felt, I didn't decide it. It's just what came over me. It just felt truthful that she would just get kind of more agitated.
Yeah.
I got to
No,
think that her
absolutely.
face hurts and she's upset, but also she doesn't really want to go home because if she goes home, she has to deal. She has to make a decision.
Yes.
She has to make a choice that she
Absolutely.
doesn't want to face.
Absolutely. And then last question also before we wrap up. I mean, you have worked on a lot of different things, different roles, different projects. I'm wondering like how separate are past projects compared to something like the Pit? Like do mindsets and preparations from like past projects come into play for you with a show like this, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, like I know there's like a lot of other shows you've been on and you have played different characters in those shows, right? But
Mhm.
are there ever like any like preparations or things from past projects that you will like bring to certain characters like on the Pit, or are they completely kind of separate once you wrap them, so to speak?
I think sometimes something will shine through and be the
Yeah.
same about a character. Like
Yeah.
when I did this project with Billy Bob, Jane Mansfield's car that Billy Bob wrote, and what's his name? Lucas Black. What's his
Yeah.
name? Or the not that comedian, the kid, is that his name?
Lucas Black. Yep. Yep. Fast Furious Tokyo Drift. Yep.
Yeah, he in Sling Blade, I loved his character so much because it was just so in your face. He was like a character without any shame, like a character without any ulterior motive. He was just kind of like, well, why are you doing this? Well, why that? And I was playing this sort of ex beauty queen, so I wanted her to be like that. I wanted her to talk like that. I wanted to dress her really fancy and then just kind of play her like a hook. Well, like y'all can't stay there. That ain't nothing but an after prom fuck joint. So there's been times, so in a way, I brought some of that like into Truth Be Told, where I was playing, they wanted me to be Southern, but I didn't want it to be flowery. And I wanted her to be a person that was just all forward, just
Yeah.
very forward. So sometimes there'll be a little bit of crossover, but I can't think of anybody that has been Dana. I don't have like a decision making process. I feel
Yeah.
that when you get into the zone of creating something, like stuff just comes to you. I remember a lot of times all my characters, a lot of them used to like fried chicken. I would decide that they liked fried chicken. I don't know why. But I think things come to you. I think sometimes your subconscious mind hooks up
Mhm.
with the writer's subconscious mind. Like I read the script, right? The 3 scripts before I started. And then I decided that Dana had lost one of her parents early. I
Okay.
thought it was her dad. When I got there and they told me about my character, they said, you lost your mom in high school. I mean, what's that about, right? So it's like, I think somehow there's a part of you that's trying to rise to the character that's on the page.
Yeah.
And so I think you're probably picking up subconscious information in the writing that you're not even necessarily pinpointing. I'm not very
Yeah, and it's you
analytical.
and your experience going from project to project too, right? So naturally things are gonna
Yeah.
like be brought like from a mindset perspective. Yeah.
But I did feel it was funny, like I did feel that the strength of the character was humility. I felt
Yeah.
that from the very beginning. That
Yeah.
that there was, and then I've noticed that like sometimes it'd be certain characters kind of snapping at me or this or that. And I remember, I don't know how to explain it, but not feeling like degraded by it or like that I needed to react to it. It was kind
Mhm.
of like I have handled so much shit. This is to work in the ER is to work in constant state of trauma, right?
Yes.
I've handled so many people having so many fits and dealt with so much shit that none of your shit really phases me, right? And that was a truth that I kind of was able to live in. So I didn't have any, again, the humility was kind of the strength.
No, absolutely. No, I was just wondering because like you, and it's a credit to you're an incredible storyteller, and you've worked on so many different things, and you've played so many different characters, and it's just amazing. So I was just curious about that. I mean, you have conducted one of the most iconic fake lie detector tests in television history, right? So I
Yes. So funny though that I did go on to marry Jake from Melrose Place. And by the way, when I did that Seinfeld, I had never seen Melrose Place. That's so crazy. I
that
just didn't really watch
television
TV.
show, I will never like. That is my favorite television show of all time, and I do not. That's one show I never get tired of watching. By the way, it's like it's interesting. Like I could never get tired of Seinfeld. I'm just saying.
That's your like I Love Lucy or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But like, yeah.
I did want to say though about the preparation that I did go down to county and county hospital, and I did some work with the charge nurse there. Just shadowed her for a little while, and I got a lot out of that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's so interesting, like when you do stuff like that, whatever it is you choose to do. I guess I take that from different characters. Like if it's appropriate, you just don't know what you're going to find out. And it could be the littlest thing or it could be something big. But it was like how Kathy related to the regulars. Like they had their regulars. Like we have Earl and we have, Louie and we have Myrna. They had one of those was in there. Yeah. One of their regulars. And just the way that she was a lot of compassion and also kind of a lot of detachment for what they were going through.
Yep.
All of that. But there was also, I don't know if you ever noticed it, but I walk around with this piece of paper and I'm writing on this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And that was something that it was a piece of business, the way that one of these charge nurses worked in the hospital. So I'll pick up some business, I'll pick up some attitude, I'll just pick up different things.
Absolutely. No, that's so great. And I loved every time I would get a new episode of The Pitt, I was like, that was a priority to kind of watch a new one. So season 2 is coming. Congratulations to everyone. So I can't wait for that. And The Pitt on Max, they can watch it. The finale is right around the corner. So they can check it out.
I can't believe it.
It's an honor and privilege to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye, Popternative.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.